We are live. Greetings, greetings, family. Sister Shanice and company in the house. As you can see, family, we are here ready to go and deliver a wonderful session for you today. I've got our brother Rasul, our brother Prophet Maduti, our brother Kwame in the house, and we're going to be joined in a short while as well by our brother Jammers. And I'll do the introductions in a very short while. So, family, as you come in the house, please do give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and let us know where you are logging in from. I am absolutely delighted, absolutely honored to have our guests in the house today, and they are all awesome guests. So we're going to have another really interesting and very insightful discussion here this evening, and I want to thank you in advance as well for participating in the chat room. And as you know, last strong, unfortunately, my network was a bit unstable, but certainly hope that that is not going to be the case tonight. So we'll just give the family a moment or two to log on and to join us, and then we'll be going straight into the program today. And, let me just go around the table and ask our guests to just say a few opening remarks. And, once more of the family come in the house, I will do the formal introduction. Brother Rasul, all the way from South Africa. How are you, my brother? Brother Rasul.
Greetings to you, the listeners, the viewers. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. There may be a slight delay.
Can you hear me?
Hearing you. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great stuff. Thank you for having me. Welcome to everyone else and to the viewers. Grand Rising. I believe that we should have this kind of discussion. I believe that it's overdue. I believe that it's time for the African mind to meet and begin to chart a way forward. I'm Rasul Snyman. I'm the founder of the Anti-Treason Movement. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm an indigenous person. And yes, I am.
Thank you so much, Brother Rasul. Rise up yourself, rise up yourself. And we've got Prophet Maduti in the house today. We've missed him for a couple of strongs. How are you, Prophet?
Well, greetings in the name of the creating force of the universe. You make something that which is greater than ourselves. Who has many names, Olodomare, Nkulukulu, Kwame, Blafoshe, Mungo, Onyeme, Amen Ra, Ashe, Mudubafon, to the creating force of the universe, Mudubafon, to our ancestors who fought the enemies of Mama Africa for the last 6,000 years. We are here to honor them and venerate them. And as my brother Rasul said, it's a discussion that needs to be had.
Most definitely. Thank you so much. And let's welcome in the house our youngest member of the panel today, but a formidable member of the panel as well, Brother Kwame.
Thank you, Sister Shanice. Thank you, the panel. Thank you, Brother Rasul. Thank you, Prophet Medute. Thank you, our viewers who are watching us. This is an interesting time in history where we are. So these conversations about our continent and what is happening with our people around the world, they are due. Maybe I can say they are overdue. We need to start looking at our continent on a serious note, because we have been under attack from a lot of forces, a lot of people claiming ownership to the continent, claiming our inheritance. We have seen a lot of people coming from outside. So it is the time for us to start pushing back and take what belongs to us. Thank you very much, Sister Shanice.
Thank you very much as well, Brother Kwame. And we've got a couple of greetings in the house to to those of you who are viewing, do let us know in the chat where you're logged in from. So we've got greetings from Olivia Happiness. Thank you so much, Olivia. And we're also getting greetings from African Global, Rise Up African Global, saying greetings, family. Happy New Year to everyone. This is 2021, back to motherland and to build unity. I absolutely love that and agree with what you've said there. So yeah, family, do drop your messages in the chat. We look forward to knowing who is watching and to having your comments as well. So yeah, this is the first show in 2021, and I know it's going to be a great one. 2021 is the year of action. I think 2020 was very much the year for of vision, and you know, it was a visionary year indeed. And as we can see, it's still ongoing at the moment. There's a reset of the preset happening, but we as a people, we need to be clear about what our vision is for the motherland, what our vision is for 2021 and beyond. And so, you know, today's discussion is so important because it's along those lines. And we've got some more big ups coming in the chat. KZ is saying, hey, Sister Shanice, I'm listening in from Uganda. Wow. Thank you so much, KZ. Rise up yourself. We've got Uganda in the house. And
excellent.
Yeah, we got the foreman of our soul listening in as I'm watching. Rather, look, this is fly coming to annoy me, saying peace and blessings. We got African Global. He's saying Africa has everything. We only need unity to be able to work together in partnership and to support each other. Absolutely agree with those sentiments and what you said there. And that's got to be an important part of our strategy, working together and building unity. And so we want to rise up known child who's saying greetings, family. We're getting greetings from London, from Olivia Happiness. So yeah, enough greetings coming in. Thank you all so much. We've got Royal Risings, wishing everyone a happy new year. We've got Maxine Grant in the house, and she's under lockdown in Baba. She said, greetings, good old man, lick shot pam Babylon. Yeah, man. Maxine must be was in our brother Andrew Muhammad's event last night. That's one of his lines. Absolutely love the brother. He's awesome. If you don't know our brother Andrew Muhammad, get to know. And we've got African Global now saying, I'm watching from Guinea-Bissau. Awesome. We got Guinea-Bissau in the house. We've got London in the house. We've got Uganda in the house. Let us know where you're logged in from. We value you, each and every one of you. And I certainly hope that all of you have risen in power today, risen in strength, and risen with a determination to accomplish much for your people, to accomplish much for your community, to accomplish much for your nation and for global Africa. And, you know, as you rise, family, we all rise. If I rise, you rise, and let's all rise together. Let's come together, as our sisters say. Find that common ground and that unity among us so that we can move mountains. Okay, so this is the Sister Shanice live YouTube show where we have panel discussions and debates. And as you can see, we've got some wonderful guests in the house. You're in the house as well. So let me start with the introductions. So let's just see one more. Oh, we've got Gambia in the house. So we've got the fulfillment from the Gambia. Awesome. And we've got Hat from GP. Happy 21. Greetings. Nangadef. Abinyadi. Akwaba. Love and light to Sister Shanice. And in the chat, watching from my bed. What country are you in, GB? Thank you for those wonderful greetings. We've got Sister Yoga in the house from London. Royal Rising, big news in Africa. Brand new cars from Ghana, just launched, manufacturer in the Ghana, and the company is called Kantanka.
It's called Kantanka. They do manufacture cars.
Big up Ghana. Wow, got its own cars now. I love it. And they're asking us to check it out on YouTube. So Kantanka Cars, check them out on YouTube. Our brother Kwame will say more on that in a little while.
Actually, actually, that company, the former president of Liberia, Salif Johnson, she bought a car from that company when she realized that the car is made in Africa.
Wow.
She bought herself one of those cars and took it to Liberia.
This is the way to go. This is the way to go, Africa. Cars today, aeroplanes tomorrow. I'm loving it, loving it. And the fact that, you know, presidents are already supporting it. I think every head of state should get one of these cars and encourage their people in their country to get one as well. This is what's going to happen. We need to also get our celebrities driving these cars as well. Yeah, man. And, you know, when we drop a style, everybody else follow, not true? So that we have to do. Okay, so let's go over to the panel. We've got 61 people in the house now, and more, I'm sure, will be joining us quite soon. And some may well have logged on a little later, and so are not actually in state with us, but you know, are watching. So that is excellent, excellent. Okay, yes, buy black is a must, most definitely. So we're going to go around the room, so to speak, and I'm going to introduce each of our guests, and after I introduce them individually, I'd like them to just go ahead and say a little something, and then I'm going to introduce the topic and we're going to go into it. All right, so family, just letting you know who we have in the house. So we've got our brother Rasool Sinman in the house. He was born in KwaZulu Natal, and he's participated in freedom struggles from an early age. He's a filmmaker, author, poet, political thinker, activist, entrepreneur, founder of the anti-treason movement, ex-chairperson of the Palestine Support Committee, and has been for 7 years, a provincial organizer of the social movement, Ndaba, and also a Pan-Africanist. Family, please welcome our brother Rasool. Welcome, Rasool. We also have in the house our brother Kwame Gonza, a staunch Pan-Africanist who believes in a united African state now to remedy the ills that have befallen the African people all over the world for the last 400 to 600 years. He is a mechanical engineer who is on the board executive of the Africa 55 States, the Rapid Africa Plan, and also the director of Media and Public Relations of Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. He also works with a lot of other Pan-African organizations. He has appeared on South African Broadcasting Network and the Pan-African Daily TV to comment on Pan-Africanism and the need for a united African government in our generation. Everyone, please welcome our brother Kwame Gonza. Welcome, welcome. And we also have, you know, our Prophet Maduti, affectionately known as Prophet Kwaku, in the house. Prophet Kwaku, he is a member of the Galaxy Afiwi radio station, and you can tune into his dynamic shows on a Thursday night, every Thursday, for the Nubian People's Forum talk show from 9 p.m. through to 12 midnight. And he talks on all things that relate to us as Africans in the community and African globally. You can also catch our Prophet Maduti Kwaku on Galaxy Afiwi on a Sunday from 10 a.m. through to 12 noon. He is a teacher at one of our leading Saturday schools here in the UK, and has been for many years. And this is a school that is actually growing young Africans into being the best that they can be. One of our most respected schools in the area in terms of Saturday schools here in the UK. And he's also the former committee member, or is it the chair of the Reparations Committee. So he has been one of our leading spokespeople on reparations for many years, leading the reparations march on an annual basis. He's also a Pan-Africanist, and he's an edutainer, and he is a valued member of the UK Black African community. Please welcome Prophet Meduti. Great kid. I am delighted to have you all in the house, and we will be at some point, also welcoming our dear brother Jammers. Myself, Sister Shanice, as you know, I also have shows on the Big G Galaxy Alfiwi, the only de-brainwashing station. My shows are on a Wednesday from 10 a.m. GMT through to 1 p.m. and also on alternate Saturdays. And I do these shows on YouTube. I'm a vlogger, and I'm an author, and a mother, and auntie, sister, and I just mean this as you see me. Okay, so family, let's go over to the topic for today, because there's so much that we have to talk about as a people. There have been many developments that have been happening in our community, and it's 2021, and what a great start it has got off to as well. And I want to rise up our African leaders. They don't normally get it right, but they've got this one right. Oh, my family, this is change happening during our lifetime. As you know, for the past 60 years or so, Africa has been operating within the confines of the post-independent European economic trading construct, and it has been economically killing us as a people, economically impoverishing us as a people. Their economic constraints and that they left behind has been an economic stumbling block to the growth and development for the potential of Africa. Well, this is a new day during our lifetime. It was announced on the 1st of January that Africa has launched its African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And basically it's the equivalent of the joy and jubilation that Europe would have experienced when it joined the European Union and it became a European bloc. Well, Africa has just become an African trading bloc, and it's an exciting time. President Nana Akufo-Addo, he talked about the aims being to bring together a 1.3 billion people single African market to function as a bloc. And, I think it's grossly underestimated, but they're valuing at the moment it to be about $3.4 trillion market. And, at his opening ceremonial speech, he was talking about it being a historic event, a landmark historic event, and a game changer. This is absolutely fantastic news for 2021 and all of us as Africans. And I'm going to go around the room now, and we're just going to share. I'm just going to ask each of my guests to share with us, their excitement for 2021. I'm going to start with Kwame Gonza, who I know is going to talk about the Rapid Africa Plan. Got you, my brother.
Oh, thank you very much, Sister Shanice. As you have said, I represent the Rapid Africa Plan and the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. These are, when we go back in history, this is a call. When we look at what is happening, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, this is a call which was made long time ago in 1963 by people like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He called it because he saw what would happen. And now we are implementing these things. Even though we are late, we are implementing them 63 years after he called. 60 years after he called for this. So can you imagine if we had implemented it 60 years ago? We could have grown exponentially up to now, because by around 1963, we had about 300 million people on the continent. So if we had banded it together, we could now have grown tremendously. Look at the United States alone. It has 350 million people. But look at the trade which is happening. Because of the trade which is inside, that it has helped it to grow its GDP exponentially. Now, I'm optimistic, while at the same time, a little bit, I have some, pessimism, a little bit of pessimism, because as Africans, we had not built up ourselves within a lot of corporations which are going to take advantage of this opportunity. But I'm optimistic because we can start. We can still start with the small we have and continue to trade. Like, for example, me, I have a plan of bringing in some goods from East Africa and bringing it to West Africa. When you talk of goods like tea, coffee, you talk of goods like rice. In West Africa, they import a lot of rice. They import a lot of coffee. They import a lot of tea. So these are some of the goods which, I plan to bring in. And then I plan to take clothes from West Africa and send it to East Africa, because I have my auntie who's trading in clothes. West Africa is very good at clothes. And then I plan again to bring milk, fresh milk from cows. In East Africa, we have plenty, a lot of fresh milk. So I went to the shelves in West Africa, and I saw that on the shelves we have a lot of milk, but that milk is from Germany, Switzerland, and I was so shocked when we have huge amounts of milk in East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia. All these places have huge, they have a lot of milk, they have a lot of coffee, they have a lot of these things. But because there has not been any link for trade, and there has been a lot of tariffs which have been blocking this kind of trade to go on, this interaction between the Africans, you see. So these goods have not been able to move from east to west, and the goods in the west have not been able to move. All the goods in the south have not been able to move, seamlessly to the western part of the continent. So that gives me optimism that we can still start and build on it. Why does it give me optimism? Again, is because we can see that there is a lot of collapse in Europe, and they are still fidgeting. We still have home advantage. We have this home advantage that we belong here. So even though they will come in to try to take advantage of our market, we still have that home advantage that we can build here, and we convince our people that these are our products which are made here. Like if I bring things from East, I will tell them that this is made by Africa here. These products which you are consuming is made by foreigners who are coming all the way from Europe and what consume our products. So it gives me in that way optimism, and to see that the future will be bright. When you look at what they are estimating, that by 2063, this continental free, the Africa Free Continental Trade Area will increase the GDP of Africa to $29 trillion. And when I look at this, I see that this is a good thing. But then this is where the Rapid Africa Plan comes in. For us at the Rapid Africa Plan, we believe that if we fast track these processes of industrialization on the continent, we believe that what they are talking about, which is $29 trillion, we can double this to $60 trillion within 40 years. So this is where the Rapid Africa Plan, working together with the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute, also comes in, and then requests the Africans to look at it critically. That even though the African Union has its plan of increasing the African GDP to 29 trillion, the Rapid Africa Plan also is coming on the table with something and telling the people, come and rally behind as African citizens. We have something which we think can double this GDP from 29 trillion to 60 trillion. So for now, thank you very much, Sister Shanice, and all the people who are watching us, our viewers.
Thank you so much, Kwame, and also thank you so much for sharing, the reality of the extent to which now goods made in Africa can start moving across borders, because yes, the Europeans had actually left behind, tariffs and all kinds of barriers and borders between African countries, to the point where it's cheaper to buy milk from Europe and import it from Europe than it was to import it from your neighbor. Well, that's all changed now that the barriers have been removed. Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. And looking forward to a lot of our people now getting jobs and opportunities to be transporting and moving goods across the border as well. And young people like yourself, well positioned now. You've got your relatives in other countries. Yes. Lots of family businesses could be springing up now. Absolutely awesome. I love the way you embrace these opportunities. And if every young person sees the opportunities the way you see it and seizes the opportunities, it's a new day. Tomorrow is definitely a new day for Africa. What say you, Prophet Maduti?
Yes, Otep, and greetings to the panel, my brother Kwame, my brother Rachel, my sister Sunish, and the people them who's tuning in. I tend to look at things from a different angle than most people. It's very good news. I don't agree that we should have done it long time ago, because the powers that be would not have let it happen a long time ago. We must never negate the history of what's happened with us and these people. They will move to destabilize, create friction, and deceit against the countries of Mama Africa. Mm-hmm. It's not all the African countries have joined. It's a number of them, quite a few, but not all of them, not all 54 states. And what we have to, in or around circumference, radius, heptagon, triangle, parallelogram stand, is that one of the first things that Africa has to do is create an African defense force. We have to be able to defend our resources, defend our plans, and defend our people. Because make no beans about it, the Chinese, the Indians, the Arabs, the Europeans, they're all watching what's happening here. Because a united Africa means that Europe and the Middle East and the rest of them have to start paying proper dollars, pounds, whatever you want to call it, for any goods or any natural materials that is coming out of Africa. Mm-hmm. One of the other things I feel that them have to do, they have to start creating industry in Africa. Yes. The main thing for me, and this is just my personal view, I could be wrong, but I'm of the notion that we must create manufacturing. Yes. We must manufacture the natural resources that resides on the motherland, develop them into products and export them. I think Rwanda is doing that at the moment, and I really have to rise up that President Kagame. He's doing a lot of good works. The president in Tanzania, our president in Ghana. You know, it is good to see that the Africans are taking a move. And we have to remember that Colonel Gaddafi wanted to fund it, something that he was prepared to use the funds of Libya to help fund, and we saw what happened to him. So we have to be very mindful about when we're moving forward. I'm hoping that there are talks in terms of creating an African defense force. Instead of rolling around with the UN, they need to create their own, because we do know that the United States have soldiers up and down Africa in the name of Africa. So we have to realize, and in and around circumference, radius, heptagon, triangle, parallelogram stand, all our enemies will come to destabilize anything we do to unify as a people. And I'll just leave it there for now and allow my brother Rachel to come in.
Rise up, Prophet. And yes, some serious considerations there that we need to factor in, and our history makes it clear that that's the case. Let's bring in now our brother Rasul. Brother Rasul, 2021, moving forward. What are your views and opinions about what we ought to be running with, what we ought to be cautious about, and what, very importantly, we need to put in place as we go forward to protect, our resources, our people, our lands, etc.
Thank you very much, Sister Shanice. And for me, I'm a very cautious person. I believe that no idea will come into being unless the time is right. And when an idea has its time right, nothing can stop it. The rising of Africa is an idea whose time has come. Nothing will stop it. However, one has to look at how will it rise? To whose benefit will it rise? Are we equipped to take advantage of the rising? Or will we still be passengers on a train that has a different painted color, but the train remains the same? As the other panelists, Prophet has raised a point of industrialization. Comrade Kwame has raised the point of transferring of goods. If we do not beneficiate those goods, for example, in between, then we continue to be conducers and facilitators of raw products leaving the country or moving money around as opposed to creating new money. A continent, and this continent will be built on new money, which means we don't only have to shift money around Africa, but we have to capture European markets, we have to capture Chinese markets, and from those markets take their money and bring it into Africa, just as they take African resources and African money and build Europe and China. There has to be a complete paradigm shift. There has to be, for example, an idea of how we get in, and we must get in very aggressively. We must get in very innovatively. We've got to get in and assert our economic capabilities in a manner in which we cannot be challenged, in a manner in which we cannot be competed against, in a manner in which we cannot be distracted from. Prophet raised a very important point about the militarization of Africa. When we look at AFRICOM, for example, we have to say, when are we going to have the strength enough, the technological advancement to put our AFRICOM in Europe, to put our AFRICOM in China, to put our AFRICOM in America? It's only when we have the temerity and the audacity to do that have we decolonized our thinking. Because for us, the major thing that happened in colonization was our minds were colonized. We were taught we can't do it. We were taught we can't think. We don't have the capacity to be able to colonize Europe. I would like Africa to colonize Europe economically, colonize it politically, choose its leaders, monitor its elections. Only then has Africa risen to the position it's supposed to rise to. Other than that, we're shifting money within ourselves, and we're working in isolation or within the paradigm and framework of isolationism. I am an aggressive Pan-Africanist, fighting and wanting a first denominator, Africa, and we can make it happen.
Yeah, to add on what he was saying, I think to both his point and Prophet Medute's point, they sync very well. But if we want to take back the continent and build it militarily, what we have to understand is that we have to take the responsibility, because if we are talking about taking back and building the continent that we can protect it by ourselves, then it means building new systems on the continent itself. That means political, new system. Politically, we need new systems. Economically, we need new systems. Socially and culturally, you know, our political system should emanate from our culture. So all these things, then we need to start now building new mechanisms, new systems, but to take the responsibility of removing the neo-colonial system which is there now. That means you are talking of 55 presidents on the continent. So that is something we need to dedicate ourselves. And this is really something which is very dear to my heart, that we need to rededicate ourselves. Now, this is why I said that the Rapid Africa Plan, for it can double the GDP, which is, which they are talking about, that it will be 29 trillion by 2063. So if we come with a radical way, 29 trillion will be in a dispensation, a neo-colonial dispensation. But when we are talking about an African dispensation, whereby we have built new systems, everything is fast-tracked. Africa is made the manufacturing hub of the world, the factory of the world. Then we can double that GDP to 60 trillion because it is being run by the Africans without the interference of the foreigners. So I just wanted to throw in that one when Brother Rasul went off, Comrade Rasul went off the line.
May I'm greetings to my brother Jammers every time.
Welcome.
May I add to that, Sister Shanice?
Yes, my brother.
I don't want us to look at advancement with the narrative of a Eurocentric mentality. So we talk about X amount of trillion and all the rest of it. I don't want to look at it like that. I want to look at it in a way that we are making our people on the continent, the ordinary African man and woman, the African family, are able to live a good standard of life, not at the BS of anybody. I'm not looking for billionaires and millionaires and all that type of stuff. What I'm looking for is that all of us as African people, we respect the continent that we live on. We respect the fact that the Creator gave us the best real estate on planet Earth. And we look after it. We look after the animals. We look after the forests. We look after our air. And we look after our people. And when we have looked after ourselves, anybody else who need looking after, we think about look after them too. But we must always remember that history is best qualified to reward our research and know that our enemies will seek to destroy. Because unfortunately, for the Europeans, they have this innate thing of greed, deceit, robbery, treachery, which they have imposed and injected into us as a people. And now we regurgitate that behavior. So we have to be very true. We have to be true that there are many of us that come home to Mama Africa and the people them try to rob with. We're coming to build and they would tear us down. But they see an Arab and a European and a Chinese and an Indian and they're welcoming to them. They do not arm them. We must never forget that it wasn't Europeans or Chinese and Indians running Ghanaians, Nigerians and other Africans and Zimbabweans out of South Africa. It was people that looked like us. So we have to have a revolution up here first before we can do anything else. And when we're putting in institutions, our institutions, like my brother Kwame said, must reflect our cultural ideals, our mores, our philosophy, and our spiritual practices. We are using too many foreign doctrines, foreign ideology to lift Africa up. So them tell you, if you build something on a sand, it will sink. And the sand is the philosophy of the Eurocentric mentality. You understand what I'm saying? So this is very, very important. And I support what my brother Kwame said. It's got to be with an African paradigm. So we got to Sankofa. We got to see and check the African civilizations that the great things, what were their practices? What were their, because cultural practices, mentality and psyche don't have to change. It's technology that change. You understand me, I say? So at them there's something there we have to bring to the table. I know it's a tall task, but it's for the future of those that are yet to come. The Constitution of Ghana, it tells you that the land belongs to those yet unborn. You understand me, I say? So anything we are chat about today, anything that we are doing, is not necessarily for us. Because the average age here among, other than Brother Kwame, is over 50. So we're talking about 100 years ahead. Our children and our children, children. Hotep.
Hotep, thank you, Prophet. Some deep food for thought there. Yes, we need to Sankofa. We need to go back to the days of our great empires and our great kingdoms, because I'm sure there's a lot that can be learned from there. Absolutely. Let's not get carried away and run away with the Eurocentric construct that we have in place today. Absolutely agree. Thanks for that input there, my Prophet. Let's welcome Brother Jammers as well. Brother Jammers is also a presenter on the Big G, Galaxy Afui. He's a student of Brother Dougie and Dr. Abu Ratata. He can tell you himself when you can find him on Galaxy Afui. He's also the founder of Speakers Club. He's an author, a DJ, radio presenter, Nubian philosopher, and etymologist. And he's currently working on the formula to liberate the minds and master our intelligence. And, you know, he's been with us for a number of strongs. And I know people in the audience have been calling for classes. They've been calling for more from Brother Jammers. So we are delighted to have him in the house tonight. Brother Jammers, welcome.
Greetings, family, and once again, it's an honor to be on the platform that you've created. And I'd like to, good to see Prophet Meduti back with us. And I'd like to welcome also Kwame, Gonza, and Russell. And it's all of these points. You know, this is what we need to do for ourselves. I think one of the key element what we need to do is go. We have to go into an intellectual battle with them, intellectual warfare. And intellectual warfare, what I mean is we can't function under the laws that they've created for themselves. Criminal justice system is justice for the criminal. All the laws that they base is based on Latin, based on Greek philosophy of the acquisition of stolen property. So the first thing we have to do, and it's backed up by them, because if you look at the Cambridge book, law is a belief system. Yeah, so law is a belief system based on the principles that they've set up in the acquisition of stolen property. So we have to uproot ourselves. We talk about roots, but we have to uproot ourselves from their law system and create our own code of conduct, African laws. We have to create African laws for African people. Their system of rhetoric, their system of speaking is not based on right or wrong. It's based on who argues best. Hence, it's called a court. It's based in courtship, in wooing the jury on your side. This is how criminals can still gain their freedom. So their whole law system, we have to challenge it with our own law system. We have to create African laws for African people, have an African justice system, an African code of practice, and we have to have an intellectual battle with them based on what we see is right for us, because their whole basis of law system is the kidnapping and the acquisition of stolen property. So this is how we have to argue on that basis and not go under their law system, but create our own law system and go into intellectual battle with them. That's how I open my
Thank you very much for that, Jammers. Definitely, you know, when we gained our independence and it appeared as though the Europeans had left Africa, although they may have physically left most of the African countries, with the exception of South Africa, you know, where they still maintained a visual presence, although they appeared to have left the rest of Africa, they nevertheless left behind a number of their pillars or that were the instruments that they continued to use to control Africa from the outside. And their legal tenets and their laws was one of them. They left the legal system behind. And so, you know, they continued to rule us under their legal system. They left their economic structures, their education system, their medical institutionalized structures behind. You know, they left a number of major structures behind. And these are definitely what we need to get rid of. The legal structures. We need to have our own African legal structure. We need to have our own African economy, our own African education system, our own everything. You know, we're not babies anymore. We don't need them to, you know, put in place for us the systems that we need to govern ourselves and rule ourselves, including their political system. That needs to go as well. We need to look at, you know, the best way of running our own affairs. Brother Jammers, come off mute and jump back in, my brother.
Yeah, the first thing they done, they convinced us that we're not African. They told us we're Slavic slaves. You know, we're not Slavic people. We've never been slaves. So that is the false misdemeanor that they placed on our head. And that is what takes us out of our proper claim on we have been kidnapped and they have acquisition of stolen property. We've never been enslaved. We've been kidnapped and they've stolen our property. And this is what we have to get into our head. We've never been Slavic. We've always been African, and they're blatantly displaying our stolen property and acquiring their power on our stolen property. We want our stolen goods back. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Yes, my brother. Let's bring back in Brother Rasul. Brother Rasul, let's hear from you, my brother.
I tend to agree with a lot that has been said. Colonialism begins in the mind. Like slavery is in the mind, colonialism is in the mind. As African people, we have not gone through a decolonization process. We went from colonialism to neo-colonialism. But the end result, even our economies are still colonial. Even our thought patterns are colonial. For example, I'll ask a question. Do we think the way we would have thought if we didn't have go through the process of colonialism? Do we think the way we think? You know, or do we have to rethink the way we think? Because all of it happens here. We also have to look at what constitutes an independent Africa, because we may have an Africa that is liberated, but it's not independent. Neither is it truly liberated because our minds are still trapped in the how are we going to build the continent? There are a number of factors that come into play. There are a number of diverse views in terms of what constitutes the continent, what constitutes the development, what constitutes how it trades, what constitutes the African culture. For example, right now we have 50 conflicts that are going on in Africa. 50 conflicts, and all these conflicts are non-state player conflicts. Now, we haven't learned ourselves. We do. If we differ with an African, we take out a gun. This is not how we build civilizations. You know, we may get petty power by killing someone else, but we are not gaining the continent as a whole. We winning the war, winning the battle and losing the war.
Yeah.
Therefore, up here, the paradigm needs to 100% with Jammers. I agree with the Prophet. I agree with Kwame in that we need a holistic approach to doing in Africa, a holistic, the cultural. We cannot only look at the intra-African events. For example, we cannot look at isolating Africa from the world, because what is happening, if you look at the ecological system, it's already impacting on us. The water patterns are changing, for example. We are now fighting water wars. We are losing rainfall in other areas. We're having contaminated water supplies. We're now having deforestation. All of this, even some of them are happening in, let's say, in Peru. They're going to impact on the weather patterns in Africa. Therefore, we have to have a holistic approach to what constitutes the liberation of Africa, and we cannot seal the borders. But we have to go as aggressive and assertive players on the global stage as power players, not as the lowest denominators. Again, it's about power, and power begins in the mind.
Yes, yes. Yes, absolutely agree with you on that, Brother Rasul. Power begins in the mind. A change begins in the mind first. Absolutely agree. 50 conflicts on the continent at the moment. You know, we have to be, you know, so careful that we don't end up in a situation where there's another decade of Cold Wars. And we have to be careful of countries like Russia, for example, who and the other countries in Europe who like to sell African their weapons of mass destruction. They will sell them, you know, bomber planes and all sorts of military equipment for billions of dollars. And, you know, and who are these are going to be used against? They're not going to be selling Africa any military equipment that is going to be able to reach Europe and do any meaningful, serious damage in Europe. But what the arming of African states tends to do is to fuel these cold wars, to fuel these petty wars that we've got going on, but very serious wars that's going on the continent. And if we're talking about a transformed Africa, if we're talking about a new tomorrow, if we're talking about this being the beginning of a new day for Africa, where we're talking about lifting, you know, our people up, you know, to have a better quality of life, as our Prophet Maduti was saying, one of the first things we've got to make sure of is that we silence the guns. I know it's a policy, but we have to make sure that that happens. We cannot be looking at a brother or a sister, and because they're a Christian and we're a Muslim, we want to kill them, or because they're a Nigerian or a Biafran, we want to kill them, or because they're from a French-speaking part of Africa and we're from an English-speaking part of Africa, we want to go to war with ourselves and kill each other. Absolute nonsense. Absolute total European indoctrination, you know, that has been put there to divide and rule. We are one people, just like Prophet was saying earlier. It's, you know, when we had the situation of xenophobia in Africa, it was our own people looking at people who looked like them in the mirror and running us out the country. But they were at the same time ignoring the Europeans, ignoring the Chinese, and ignoring the Asians, and not calling them foreigners in their own country. So, you know, the mind, the indoctrination is deep. And as our brother Rasul was saying, we've got to decolonize the mind. Otherwise, we will be our own worst enemy and we will be destroying ourselves from within. Someone asked in the chat, you know, what about the ACEFT, or the abbreviation for the African Free Trade Agreement? That's where we started, my friend. You may have joined us quite late, but, you know, we were celebrating the fact that Africa has removed the trade barriers, and that, you know, the majority of the African countries have signed up to this African Free Trade Agreement, and we were talking about the potential economic benefits and prospects that that's going to be bringing to Africa, a 1.2 billion people market, and the fact that we're talking about trading amongst ourselves and not talking about exporting all the time, you know, and that we're talking about moving around our goods, you know, in our own market is phenomenal. It means that we're going to get good rice from Africa and not have to worry about getting poisoned imported plastic rice, or poisoned chemicalized sugars, or anything like that, or GMO foods coming from Europe. It means we can, you know, have good quality food that's homegrown, you know, made by our brothers and sisters. And as was suggested by Brother Kwame before, we've got to be looking at branding our products as well. One thing about Britain, when it was losing its markets to other European markets, they went on a Buy British campaign, and they encouraged, you know, British people to buy British veg, buy British meat, buy British whatever. It may not have been the best, but it was a Buy British campaign, and we're going to have to also institute something similar, a Buy African campaign. We're going to have to label, you know, our African products, promote our African products, and, you know, buy African. I'm excited. I'm excited about the change. Let me bring in our young brother Kwame again, our visionary in the house. Brother Kwame.
Thank you, Sister Shanice. I think for us to, why I was talking about that, I'm a little bit pessimistic about the Africa continental free trade area. It is a good thing that as we, the African citizens, ourselves can take advantage of it. The only challenge we are going to face is that the governments which are signing on onto this, they are, most of them, they are controlled from outside. Let me say they are neo-colonial governments. They don't really represent the African people in their entirety. So as we, the African people, have always been that we fight for ourselves, and we will continue to use the loopholes. We can pass through the loopholes. Like I said, I find an opportunity for me to bring goods from the East and bring them to the West, bring goods from the West and send them to the East. So that is where I see, when I was talking about pessimism, I'm a little pessimistic. I'll give you an example. In Ghana, we have the Kantanka Automobile Company. The Kantanka Automobile Company is producing cars. Part of the spare parts are being brought from China because they don't manufacture some of them. They bring them and assemble in China. But when you look at a president who is saying that he is progressive, he should have, Kantanka needed about $100 million, you know, to ramp up the production and even to start manufacturing the things from Ghana, so that he can start exporting the vehicles to other parts of Africa. It's the same thing with the company like Innoson. There's another company in Nigeria which is called Innoson. Is owned by an African, is also manufacturing cars. But what did the President Nana Addo government do? The President Nana Addo government went and brought Volkswagen to come and assemble vehicles in Ghana. It went to bring Toyota to come and assemble vehicles in Ghana to compete with the Kantanka Automobile Company, which is an indigenous company. They brought Toyota, they brought Volkswagen, they brought Nissan. All these companies are going to start assembling cars in Ghana, which is not helpful to the African people. So you can see that they are crushing him. Instead of giving him money, the state investing a lot of money in this company so that it will expand and start exporting these cars to the African countries. So they invited these companies. So this is where neo-colonialism comes in. So this is where the pessimistic part of me comes in. You see that these companies are coming here because in Ghana, that is where the Secretariat of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is. So they want to use the government to make it look like the cars which are being assembled here, the Volkswagen and Toyota cars, they are made in Ghana. That is what they want to portray. They want to portray this picture and then use the Ghana government to sell these cars to the other parts of Africa. So this is not going to help us. Instead, it is going to, again, to suck resources out of Africa. It's going to suck the money which we have out of Africa, which was supposed to help the indigenous companies and grow African brands, an Africa brand like Kantanka Automobile, an Africa brand in Uganda, which we have Kira, Automobile. We have another Kira Automobile in Uganda. We have Innoson Automobile in Nigeria. So all these, they need to expand instead of looking at them like that. They look, these guys, they look the other way. So, but I'm still optimistic because we have started to compete, even though they are being pressed. As Africans, we have always been resilient in all conditions. So our companies, even though they are small, they still come up and continue to compete, because the Europeans are scrambling. They are dying. Okay, they don't have. They have reached the ceiling. They are not growing anymore. Okay, so, and this is where all the opportunities are. So they want to take opportunity of, you know, they want to take advantage of our opportunities here. So I see this as, we have to understand what the real problem is, we the African people. And the problem in all ages since the 1400s, it has been the problem of imperialism. It is just that it has been metamorphosing in different stages, from chattel slavery in the 14th century to colonialism in the 17th and the 18th century, and then to now where we are, where it is neo-colonialism. So once we understand that the people who have been perpetuating this system, they are the same people who want to bring here Volkswagen. They are the same people who want to bring here Ford Motors and pretend as if they have come to trade. These are exploiters. Once we understand that these are exploiters who have come to exploit us, then we, the African people who are fighting for ourselves, and the governments, our governments are not fighting for us. We can boycott some of these products. We bring out our products to the knowledge of the people, like we are talking about Kantanka. We say that this is the brand. We have our media, our Pan-African networks, like here, Sister Shanice. We come and talk about Kantanka. We come and talk about Innocent. We tell our people, do not buy Toyota when Innocent is there. Do not buy Toyota or Volkswagen or Ford Motor when Kantanka is there. This is what we should be doing. So I see that when we understand the problem critically like this, then it will give us an advantage to go forward and build it from the ground up, build ourselves until we capture the power as African people through the different organizations which we are building up. Organizations like the Rapid Africa Plan, Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute, Pan-African Congress in South Africa. There's all these organizations which are Pan-African in nature that will be able to build new political systems and then do away with the neo-colonial system of governance.
Rise up, Brother Kwame. I tell you, thank you so much, you know, for so eloquently outlining there the number of car manufacturers across the continent that we need to be looking out for. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even known about Kantanka. You know, we've got to get them on the show. We've got to get images of their cars. We've got to be promoting it. We've got to get our musicians and our artists doing their music videos using those cars. We've got to get those cars in movies. You know, we are the trendsetters. We are the creative ones. You know, we've got to get the image of those cars out there, because, you know, this is how we, as you say, through our own media, can be promoting our own. And we are powerful as a people. I think quite often we underestimate the power we have to influence, you know, the world. We are trendsetters. Wow. We need the Spike Lees. We need, you know, our movie producers with those Nigerian cars in their movie. Prophet, what say you about, you know, what our brother's just been saying, the need for us to be marketing and promoting our own homemade goods, and the dangers that these very same people could be coming through the back door, you know, with their own goods and produces and claiming it's African because it's been assembled in Africa. You know, what messages you got for us about this particular potential scenario, Prophet?
Well, you know, it's a misnomer that Africans don't know how to create. In the 1900s, before Ford started his production and his car manufacturing, there was African businessmen who were the first to start multi-car manufacturing. And what happened is that Ford came along,
right,
and Ford stole the idea and went along, and now Ford is a worldwide name car manufacturer. And we know this. you know, it's not rocket science. Anytime you find us anywhere as African people, we are inventors. We're the original people. So we always have that foresight vision to create, design. Remember, you know, the very GPS system that we use is an African woman that designed that. We know that one of the Apollo trips to space was possible because of 3 African mathematicians. We know that the internet is possible because of an African mathematician, Philip Emeagwali. You know, so we know all of this. This is nothing new to probably the panelists. The key thing that we have to do is to Africate the future. This is what needs to change. This is what needs to be clean out and reprogrammed, because it's dirty. It's full of foreign doctrines. We need to be creating trainers and sportswear that are not Adidas, that are not Nike, that are not Puma. You understand what I'm saying to you? But we've already done it, because these very same companies are using our designers. These Volkswagen and Mercedes and Lamborghini, when you look at them, a lot of them are using African designers.
Yes.
So what happened is those very designers, those very creative people need to Africate their minds. And so this new trade deal within Africa, it is good. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. It is a good thing, because they say for every long journey starts with a small step. You understand me? I just wanted to make a bit of correction about what you were saying earlier, my sister Shanice, in terms of the wars. They are proxy wars. They're not wars that Africans fighting these wars, but they're not African wars, because it benefits the foreigners that we are divided. Because why we've did you know that France, Germany, Britain, Portugal, United States, China, India, and others, most of the raw material they get out of Africa, they don't pay for it? Do you know that? Did you know that in Ghana itself, Ghana doesn't even own the gold reserves that it has in the ground?
Yes.
The oil that the island find what they here, them sell it off to the Chinese them. What we have to do, we have to have a serious revolution in Africa. And it doesn't have to be a bloody revolution. Because if people just down tools, if the ordinary man and woman around the world just down tools, we're not doing nothing. You can't look up everybody. But what the powers that be does, they prey on fear. If they can get people with that fear in their head, or it might be me, then they keep the status quo. You understand what I'm saying? So the key factor in our liberation is Africation. To Africate our minds. To get rid of that colonialistic mentality. Throw away their judicial system and recreate our council of elders from all the different groups, because we have a similar principle. You understand what I'm saying? If somebody steals something, find out the reason why them thief it. If somebody's thieving food, you go and lock them up because they are thief food. That means there's something wrong with your society or the system that you're created, that somebody has to thief food, a basic human necessity. And you want to lock them up because they're hungry? Or if you're in the Middle East, you go chop off them hand because they're hungry? But people molest people, children. And they're sending them to psychiatrists because something must be wrong with them. Instead of lock up them backside. You understand what I'm saying? So we've got to readdress and change the mentality of how we view things. We view things with too many Eurocentric mentality. And I myself do that because I'm affected by Eurocentrism, just like all of us are. We're just trying to find our way forward to where we were before. You understand me? So Africation is the key. And we must have, with Africation, we must also have vision. We must also have vision. We must be able to see 100 years after our death. We must not be seeking to enjoy the spoil, because we are enjoying the spoils of liberation right now, you know.
Yeah.
Because there was a time we couldn't do this.
Yes.
You understand? And people died so that we could have the privilege to do what we're doing now.
Yeah.
To burn a fire upon white boy and tell white boy where. You understand me? Many of our women and men died for that privilege and didn't have it themselves. So it's our duty to die.
Yes.
So that others can live. Malcolm died so I could live. Marcus died so I could live.
Yes.
Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, they all died so I can live.
Yes.
So me be dead so that others can live. Or what the hell are we doing having children if we're not prepared to make no sacrifices? Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe is so true. Rise up as always, Prophet Maduti. Thank you, Brother Kwame, for sharing some images of the cars for us on screen. How do you do that actually? I've got some images of the Kiara car from, how did you add it to the screen below, Kwame?
Yeah, there is downwards, there's sharing screen sharing. There's a microphone, stop camera, stop mic, and Live Studio, where you see there's Live Studio. Before you reach Live Studio, there is a share screen. So you open the picture, you go to the window and open the picture, and when you open it, you come back to the StreamYard and you share, and the options will come.
Okay, let me give that a try now for the cars that are made in Uganda. Can you see those?
Yes.
Where you learn Farsi, Sister Shanice?
You
learn Farsi?
Me want to pick up on these things, you know. Look, pretty car. Look, the car we're making at Uganda. Wow.
Yes.
You know, Sister Shanice. You said something very prolific. And I don't even think you realize what you said, and I'm going to repeat it. You said we have to get our celebrities driving these cars, our young people posing in these cars. And what happens is, you know, because in the West, companies allow performers to, when they're making their videos, to use those cars for free, because they know that when people see them, they will run and buy them. So I think that companies like Katanga and all these other African companies, and I've known about Katanga for a few years, because the CEO now, it was his father that created the car.
Yes. And
he came on, and his father built the car with him hand.
Wow.
I'm hand him build a car there with, you know. I'm hand him build a car there with. And so we have to get because there's, see, what a lot of people don't realize, the celebrities in Africa, on the African continent, are bigger than the celebrities outside of it. They've got millions of followers in Africa.
Yes, yes.
And so it's important for them to showcase the greatness of our people. And this is what it comes about when you Africate yourself and you start to work together. You understand me? So this is what needs to be done. So I just wanted to pick up that point. That was an excellent point that you dropped, Sister Shanice. Just wanted to make that point.
Thank you for reinforcing that. Rise up, Prophet. Let's bring in Brother Jammers, then Brother Rasul. Brother Jammers.
You know what? I can't even say anything. Prophet Maduti said it all. You know, he's really budding fire today. You know, so rise up. You know, because you can see when someone's touched by the ancestors today. And I must say that, Prophet, you've said everything. I'm actually speechless. One thing I think we have to add is we got to forget about the coronavirus. We got a bigger disease, and it's the European mentality. This is bigger than our coronavirus. And our vaccination is what Prophet Maduti said is Africanation. You know, we have to get this spell off our head that's keeping us in the position we're in. Osman, the young future leader that you brought last week said it all. That they are obsessed with, they are the terrorists, because risk means when you specialize or you make something. Artists means you love art. Terrorists means you love land. And they see everything based on the landmass. And now we have a mentality that we see ourselves as pieces of land. We don't see all of ourselves as living, breathing Africans. We base ourselves on the area of land that we associate ourselves to. When they call themselves American, they call themselves British. They don't call themselves Tottenhamites or Philadelphiaites. They call themselves one people. So we have to get this spread of the sound that we've attached to ourselves with land off our heads and see ourselves as one people. And then we can put in practice what Prophet Maduti said and the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jammers. I'm glad you did contribute. As always, you know, you got enough fire. Rise up, Sister Jamo, Afri Jamo in Ghana. Brother Rasul, a lot has been said since you've last spoken. And look at the enterprising opportunities that we have on the motherland. Our brothers are making cars on the motherland. Wow, wow, wow. We just need the governments now to back them, don't we? You know, to create incentives for people to buy them, to market and promote them, to drive them. This is just an example of the potential. Next, I want to see our brothers making machinery to do farming. Making machinery to do the industrialization of, you know, the produces that we need to do. Clearly, we got the talent, and this, you know, I'm really delighted that we've used part of this show to actually showcase, you know, examples of the great works that's happening on the continent. Family in the chat, if you've got any other examples that you want us to pick up on, like the car industry, please do let us know of any homegrown industries that you want us to feature, and we'll find some images and put that up. Rise up, rise up. Brother Rasul, come in, please, my brother.
Thank you, Sister Shanice. I think Comrade Kwame and Prophet were actually speaking about globalization. And we have to begin to talk about globalization, because globalization is what brought us to where we are today. Some white man left his country, jumped on a ship, came here and exploited us. The same white man jumps in his company, comes to Africa and exploits us as well. And what they did in the past, they captured the chiefs or captured the kings or captured those people, and those people allowed us to get exploited. Now they capture our governments, and our governments allow us to be exploited, in fact, for their own personal greed and their own personal benefits. Now, it is to that end that we have started what is the anti-treason movement. When a government does not serve its people, it does not serve the interests of its people, it commits treason against the people. Now, we believe that there should
Right,
be
that's it.
legislation by which we, the people, can charge our governments for treason. Our governments charge us for treason. For example, if we are, but when are we going to charge them for treason for betraying our interests? What is it about the political system that allows to continue to be abused, but we cannot charge and hold our abusers to account? So when the a very neo-colonial political system, and we are buying into that system. For example, here in South Africa, we have a parliamentary system. A parliamentary system is no different to feudalism. It's democratic feudalism. For example, the minute you elect someone, you put them in power and you can't hold them to account. They can do whatever they want to do, and you can't hold them to account. Now, when we look at COVID-19, we're in the middle of the biggest drive for medical colonialism that one can find. We have entities like the WHO who are higher than our elected governments, and they tell us what to do. They have now demanded that our governments vaccinate us. Did we ask for the vaccination? In whose interest is the vaccination? If the vaccinations are untried, is that not a crime against humanity? Where do we take these governments? Should they get away with blank checks? It's time for us status quo and only be recipients of the status quo. It's time for us to change the status quo. However, it leaves us with a dilemma. Can we change guns? Should we change it through guns, or should we change it through different means? If we go into armed conflict on top of other armed conflicts, we're going to sit with 100 armed conflicts. So now is the time for us to use this. Now is the time for us to look, for example, at the alternative methods by which we can hold our politicians account, subscribe, and become part of the problem. Because we don't seem to want to hold we don't want to hold our governments to account because they belong to the same tribe as us. We don't want to hold our governments to account because they give us some benefits. And it is said, oppression works because someone gives others the crumbs coming down, and based on those crumbs, those people oppress us and keep oppression going. Now, this doesn't end there. It goes into the terrain of war, because these conflicts are engineered externally. Now, if any grouping goes into war internally and it's against Africa or the well-being of Africa or the well-being of the people themselves, is that group not committing treason? So we then have to go to the justice system and say, where do we hold these people to account? Who are the investigators? Who are the judges? How do we participate? And how do we destroy? Like in the anarchist sense, in anarchism, they say, burn the system down, and from the ashes will a new system arise. Because we are with the choice, an unhealthy choice of revolution or reform, and we're choosing reform. Sometimes you have to burn it down, not try and fix it. Putting a lipstick on pigs still means it's a pig. You know, and I'm saying to everyone, this is our litmus test. This is the line that has been going to do with our governments, our own governments. Because if we all act in the lands of our birth or countries of residence, that will filter upwards into good governance. And then, like we have signatories, trade agreements, instead of colonial signatories or neo-colonial signatories, we're going to have pure good leaders. But some of the blame is with us, and we must admit that we have messed up by getting into personality politics, by getting into color politics. That's my view.
Rise up, Brother Rasool. I'm going to come around the table for comments regarding the proposal that you've just put on the table there. The need, and the question: who's holding our politics to account? When they commit treason, when they're not acting in the interest of their people, not acting in the interest of their country, they're committing treason. How is that being addressed? But we've got some more photos. Let me just check out this one. Let's add this to the screen. Brother Kwame, tell us please, which country, what company is this? Who is making these wonderful looking vehicles?
Yeah, these ones it is Innoson, which is Nigeria. Yes. He's actually, I think, right now the largest African indigenous manufacturer right now of vehicles. He's bigger than Kantanka because he has been in the business for quite some time.
Wow.
He has been in for quite a long time. So he has been even exporting to Sierra Leone. He has been selling to the Nigerian military. If you look at this vehicle here, it was sold to the Nigerian military. This one, yeah. So he's manufacturing on a large scale.
Yeah, awesome. We just don't hear about this in the West.
He is the one. Yeah, this is the gentleman here.
Yeah. Wonderful, and these are the entrepreneurs. These are the great ones, that we ought to be hearing about. Our children need to be hearing about, because, they will be inspired then to go on to do something similar or greater or better. When we look at our Eurocentric magazines, or because the mainstream media is largely controlled by Europeans, obviously they're only going to be promoting their own cars and their own models, and they're not going to be showcasing the wonderful, car manufacturing companies that exist in various parts of Africa. What a revelation, what an insight. And, just highlighting again what I said earlier, what Prophet reinforced, we've got to get, our leaders driving these cars. We've got to get our superstars driving these cars, our artists, our movie makers. They've got to be partnering with these manufacturing companies so that they can bring to light, the great works that's happening on the continent. And someone asked me to showcase someone who does machines, and let me just share the screen there so that I can find this young man who's busily making machines in Malawi. Rise Up Block 929 on YouTube, who's making machines. This one, I think, is a cement making or block making machine that he's made. So, as Prophet Kwaku was highlighting, we've got the talent on the continent. We just need to give them the support, the financial backing, in infrastructure and the staffing that they need to get started. Because, when people in England have these wonderful ideas for business, they take their proposals to the bank with a business plan, and they say to the bank, right, if you loan me 50,000, 100,000, you can see from my plan that after X number of sales, within 2 years, I'll be able to pay that back plus the interest. We need the African banks, backing our African entrepreneurs, and we need the African media not to be turning out the same narrative of the BBC, but to be showcasing and highlighting across the continent, the great entrepreneurial inventors and creators that we actually have. I want to rise up Neville Hall here. He's saying, absolutely brilliant show. Warrior Queen, Sister Shanice, I'm loving every minute. Thank you. Some more strength to you. Vudum power back to you, Brother Neville. Thanks for that. Let's see some more comments. Royal Rising says, yes, we must support and buy African made anywhere. We must find African owned first and foremost. Absolutely. If we are going to be the change and if we're going to see the transformation that we want to see, we are the ones who are going to have to be buying the produces that our brothers and our sisters are making. Want to rise up, Happy Companion as well. Rise up, Happy Companion. He's saying, hey, Mr. Hillary, and rising up, Ingrid as well. Glad to have you in the house. And let me go back over now to our panel. Who would like to jump in at this stage?
Yes.
Be prepared to take over. I could be freezing a bit here, so be prepared to come in, family.
We can hear you. We can hear you, Sister Shanice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there is someone who spoke about the technology, that the technology itself is going away from the internal combustion engine. When I was talking about the vehicles which Volkswagen and Toyota are planning to bring into, for example, Ghana, in their preparation to take advantage, to base in Ghana, to take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. What is actually ironic is that they are just coming to assemble, and the other thing is that they are not manufacturing this technology from Ghana, and the technology itself is outdated when you look at it. For example, if you look at what is happening in Britain, they are saying that by 2030, they will ban all cars which are, internal combustion engines, because the electric, because the electric cars are the ones which are taking over. There's no need, any more need for internal combustion engine cars. So they are bringing this technology is outdated. They are not even manufacturing it from here. So instead of supporting our own Kantanka, because Kantanka has even started making electric cars, they are bringing in these guys who are bringing internal combustion engines, outdated technology, and then they are putting them up as if they have brought something very special. They will be bringing maybe about 50 jobs, and they are put up on the pedestal as if they have brought something special. So I see this as the problem with the neo-colonial states. So we as Pan-Africanists, I believe that we have to be committed to the cause of decolonizing the continent in its entirety. And we have to look inside ourselves. We have to check inside ourselves and say that this is a commitment we have to do, like Prophet Medute has said, that if it is death, we have to die so that the other people who are coming in the future, so that our children can be better, so that our grandchildren can be better. So we have to lay down our lives like good shepherds so that we find a solution to this problem of removing, because this is something which normally people fear talking about, removing the current government. So we have to dedicate ourselves to that cause and work with anyone who is willing to work towards removing these people who are in power as neo-colonial representatives, and they are stopping the progress of the African people and the African, to flourish and bloom up and come up and express himself economically and express himself, with full vigor politically and culturally and socially in all means. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to add in there. It is unfortunate that Sister Shanice is not back yet.
Yeah, I mean, I endorse everything that you said, Brother Kwame. Can you hear me still?
It seems like his screen is frozen, so just continue, Prophet. Yeah.
I endorse everything that young Brother Kwame said, and we need young men like him with the vision. And Africa is poised in a perfect position to take advantage of new technological ideas, Brother Jammers. Brother Rasool, can you hear me? You can't hear me now, Kwame. You're back.
Yeah, yes, I'm back. My network was gone. I don't know. It's okay if anyone can take over.
Yeah. I was just saying that I endorse everything that you said. But what I wanted to add to that is that I know people might have heard me speaking and think I'm a bit of a pessimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. There's a difference.
Yes.
Because I look at the evidence. I look at the history. I do the math. And when I add 1 and 1, I know it makes 2. You understand me? So Africa is in the perfect position to monopolize and take advantage of new technological ideas. So when we're creating our manufacturing ports and things like that, and our assembly lines is with new technology, nanotechnology, harnessing the light, you know, the sun and the wind and the natural elements that we have to move us, because all it is about traveling. We have to create, African governments has got to come together and create a new train system that, you know, we can take a train from South Africa right up to Sierra Leone. You understand what I'm saying? That's a big feat. And we don't want the Chinese to come and build it, because we can build it our bloody selves. You understand what I'm saying to you? These are the kind of visions that we need to have. We've got young African children, even here in Britain. The youngest children them to ever go to Oxford University to do a degree in mathematics is two Nigerian children, 9 and 8.
Yes.
So we've got that. We got it. What we ain't got is that African mentality. So we need to Africate them. We need to speak to our children. And let me tell you something from now. We live here in this town, yeah. And me and my wife have problem even with our son, because the system is so powerful. The Eurocentric system is so powerful that even when you're trying to Africate your own youth, they question you. Even them grew up in it, you know. So imagine the ones who ain't growing up with it. How they've got our children, how they can siphon them and their geniuses away from us for their own benefit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Not because the United States had somebody that resembled us as a president mean we made a great feat. He was still working for the enemy. He was the one that brought down Gaddafi. You understand what I'm saying? So the traitors, and what Russ All was saying earlier, treason. We must never forget that the reason and the white man had the ability to do and conquer Africa was because other Africans helped them.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? We had the 2 Punic Wars with Carthage and Rome. It was because the Africans, who were then the Numidians, sided with Rome against Carthage. So they had more of an affinity with the Romans than they did with their own brother. And we can go right through the history of our continent and see those discrepancies. And we must speak about them, because we must teach our children how we fell in order so it doesn't happen again. And so when you see footages of how even Nigeria came about, and the shooting down of our African women, when the women said, no, you can't tax me. It wasn't white man shooting them down. It was black man with the white man then. So, you know, we can sit and blame the white man, The white man is the seed of the problem, but we have become the plant. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we have to plant a new seed, because the seed that we've turned into is GM.
But Prophet, how do we deal with it as quickly as possible if we want to like, for example, when we look at the time for the reconstruction of nations, we have all these problems, and when we look at the time for reconstruction of nations, there is a few people who come up, and they have this mindset, and they are able to drive the whole nation. Like if you look at, for example, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, and recently China, you can see that the time for reconstruction of these nations have gone down to 40 years. You look at Britain and Europe, they took around 600, 700 years to construct. America has taken around 300, and these nations have reduced the time. When you're talking about Singapore, the time has reduced to 30 to 40 years. How do we, looking at all these problems, how do we take them and then compress all these problems into one vacuum so that we can reconstruct the African nation within a limited time? You can see, like Dubai, for example, it has taken around, to reconstruct it, it has taken about 15 years to 25. So how do we take advantage of this technological shift, and regardless of the problems we have, so that we can come up as Africans and the African continent, because we have everything we need?
Right, what we're going to have to do, beloved, and there's no quick fix to our situation. If we're looking for a quick fix, we're going to end up writing off what we need to do. I asked a man one day, a friend of mine, we were doing works together and we're in a project together. And it was the early days of me on the liberation road. I was a young man in my 30s. And I said, boy, this liberation thing, boy, it don't look like it ever got done in. And he turned to me and he said that to his teacher one day, and his teacher turned back to him and said to him, the struggle was here before you came.
Yes.
And it's going to be here when you're gone.
When you're gone, yes.
Just do your bit.
Do your work, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
We're looking too much. You see, when you look for a quick fix, you turn a drug addict. Yeah? Instead of waiting for a natural eye, you want to get a fixed eye. And so you take drugs to give you inspiration instead of meditating and taking time to build that inspiration within yourself. When I said we have to Africate ourselves, what I meant by that, beloved, is that you got children around you in Ghana who's got sense. You need to harness them. You need to harness their creativity. But while harnessing that creativity, you need to Africate to them and explain to them that what you have is not for you. It's for you, your family, and it's for the wider community.
Yes, Prophet.
In the West, what they teach you is for you, and you can make a lot of money, and you can have this, and you can have that. It's nothing about how you can assist and help those who's less fortunate than yourself. So there's no quick fix, beloved. The answer to our total liberation is the Africation of those who's behind us and those yet to come. And one day in the future, our children will sing our praise. Sister Shanice, you're back with us.
I am black. Thank you very much, family, for keeping the show on the road while I was away, and delighted to be black again. So, we are about 15 minutes away from the top of the hour. Let me bring in Brother Rasul, then I'm bringing Brother Jammers, and we'll go around the room again. Thank you, family. Brother Rasul.
Thank you, Sister Shanice. I think a lot of the factors that we're speaking about, time as a resource. Time is something no one controls. And it's like baking a cake. All the ingredients have to be in. And It's got to be put in the oven at the right time for it to become good cake. If you do it, if you miss an ingredient or you put it in too early, take it out too early, you don't get the desired results. As I said earlier, an idea whose time has come, nothing can stop it. Africa's time will come, but it's not an event. It's not one day Africa would unite. It would be a process by which Africa will reach the critical point, and then the second part of the job becomes how to maintain that forward thrust. Because every solution gives you a problem. For example, we got cell phones, we can communicate quickly, but it gave us new problems. It gave us the problems of radiation. It gave us the ecological problems. Every solution has a problem. Now, we haven't yet begun to speak about the real problems of uniting Africa. For example, we talk about the migration of people, because this is something that we are not dealing with, the migration of people, because the migration of people, firstly, it's a war that has been manipulated from outside. Secondly, it destroys communities. Thirdly, it destroys countries. Fourthly, it brings about African on African hate, for example. What we call xenophobia, which is Afrophobia, because it doesn't affect white people, it only affects Africans. And we have to begin to address this. For example, our people have been in Spain. No one cared about our people in Spain. Our people are getting exploited in Egypt and Mauritania. No one cares. Our people are still being sold as slaves. No one cares. Until we care for our people, until every African bleeds when another African is injured, we still have not achieved the emotional togetherness that we are supposed to have, the spiritual togetherness that we are supposed to have. Because it's not just about us standing in a group, it's about us loving each other, it's about us caring for each other, it's about us treasuring each other, and making sure that every African, their value in another African's eye is the highest thing that you can achieve. We cannot continue to want to build on the one hand and destroy on the other hand. When we talk about the unity of Africa, for example, we haven't begun to deal with the hard questions. For example, we talk about one Africa, free movement, and so on and so forth. But have we spoken about the tribalism involved in that? Have we spoken about the territoriality involved in that? Have we spoken about the shared economy? Have we spoken about the currency? Have we spoken about the financing? Because we're touching all this in globalization. And if we are to replace the global capitalist, we have to ensure we have a comprehensive solution that builds us. Or what is going to happen? We will lead our people to poverty instead of leading them to freedom. And Angela Davis said, is this liberty if we free people only for them to starve? We have to fight for our people, for the best of our people, not for monetary gain, but for the best of our people, and raise their quality of life, while at the same time bringing back the humanity that was taken from them in the whole colonial game.
Rise up, my brother Russell. Thank you for trying to push through that. You know, family, I hope you got the gist of what our brother was saying there. Let me go to Brother Jammers, then round to Prophet, and back to Brother Kwame. Brother Jammers. Jammers.
So it's been an excellent discussion today. The panel really covered all aspects. I think we have to, as I said, we have to change our value system is the key, you know, and they have intellectual property rights. So we have to value that everything that we do, all of our geniuses, they extract our geniuses, as Prophet Quaker was saying, and for their own benefit. We have to have our intellectual property right, that everything we do, they don't have the right to copy what we do. You know, we have to defend and value who we are, you know, and that's the first step. You know, we don't have that security and that belief in ourselves that what we do, you know, this is our right to do what we do, and no one has the right to copy. If you take our young children and benefit from them, you know, so that's a key element in relation to that. And in relation to how we're going to rise as a people, naturally we are rising. You know, we have the resources that everybody else needs. Our birth rate, they calculate, is going to exceed every other birth rate, and but they say by 2050, 1 in 5 people will be African. You know, and they have an aging population. We have a young population. All revolution is done by the young. So nature is in our favor. They thought that this COVID thing would be affecting Africa. They thought it was going to be the next Ebola. It's backfired, and it's affecting them. You know, so even nature is on our side. That we have the walking cure. We have melanin in us. So nature favors us. We have to just take control now and do things for self, as it's always been said. Thank you.
Absolutely, Brother Jammers. Nature is indeed on our side. We need to take control of this. We need to take control of our minds so that when they come with them vaccine, we don't take it and we tell them what to do with it. Because we're in serious trouble if our people take their vaccines, because as we know, it's part of their depopulation agenda. So let me just quickly go to the panel and see what we've got. Okay, one of our viewers is asking, please let us know where we can find you guys in the panel. Okay, well, myself, Prophet, and Jammers can be found on the Big G, Galaxy Alfiwi, the only D brainwashing. I'll put that in the link. And our brother Rasul and Kwame, are there any public spaces where viewers can hear more from you should they want to do so? Brother Kwame, I know you've got the Rapid Africa Plan document that you want people to see, sign up to, run with. Can you please let people know where they can get hold of a copy of the Rapid Africa Plan, please?
Yes, anyone who wants to reach out to me can check on Facebook, look for Kwame Gonza, or look for the Rapid Africa Plan page on Facebook. You can find me there, or you can go to YouTube and you can find me there also in the same name, Kwame Gonza. You just type in YouTube Kwame Gonza and it will come up, or Facebook Kwame Gonza will come out. Or another page on YouTube is called Africa Reimagined. Africa Reimagined. When you type in YouTube, the page will come up. So, or if you can't do that, you can ask Sister Shanice. She will bring you right back to me. Thank you.
Rise up, rise up. Thank you so much, Kwame. And Brother Rasul, if viewers want to get in touch with you or get involved in any of the works that you're doing, please let them know how best they can reach you.
I'm Rasul Snyman. I'm available on Facebook, YouTube, and most other mediums. If you come to me, my number is pretty simple. You can get me on Telegram. I'm on all these mediums. So just look for me and come to me. I'm always open. I have an open door policy. I never turn off calls. So as long as you want to reach out to me.
Sorry, the gremlins have got your phone line, Brother Rasul. I wonder if you could post your contact details in the chat, please. If you post your contact details in the chat, then people can grab it from there. But the gremlins have been screwing up your line, and sadly we're unable to pick up clearly what you're saying. Prophet, let's hear final. We have got, how many minutes have we got left? 8 minutes left. So if I give everyone 2 minutes each, Prophet Kwaku, let me give you a couple of minutes to kind of wrap up with some key thoughts on today's discussion, or maybe to pull a comment or two from out of the chat to respond to. Go ahead, Prophet.
First and foremost, Mandasi Pa, Shanice, for giving us this opportunity to speak. I want to say Mandasi to Brother Rasul, my young brother, I'm Kwame, and definitely my brother Jammers, and all the listeners and the contributors who's been typing in stuff. You know, infrastructure is the key thing in Africa. Proper infrastructure in the Africational system, in the medical system and defense system. Those three things, and then providing food for ourselves. So we have to learn to feed ourselves, depend on feeding ourselves, protecting ourselves, Africating ourselves, seeing, and looking after ourselves in terms of our health. Those are the four pillars that we have to secure so that we can defend ourselves, but we also can assist humanity, because it's not like us to be living good life and we're seeing humanity starving. And hence why you can find us everywhere in the planet where we contributed to those people, them elevating themselves, right, from the Homo erectus positions that they find themselves in. You understand me? So I just want to say Madasipa to everybody, and you can catch me on Galaxy, I feel with Galaxy AFIWE.com. I will be on tomorrow night, GMT, 9 p.m. until midnight, where me blaze a fire. I'm in a ramp for Bond, Babylon, every time. Yeah?
Show not
rain where that shine. Yeah? Them afraid when them cross my line. See? So big up to yourself, Pano, Sister Shanice, Jammers, Russell, Brother Kwame. Brother Kwame, I'd like to speak to you because I'm involved in a project in Ghana, and I'd like to speak to you about it. So, but I'll get the details from Sister Shanice.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And may the ancestors and the creating force of the universe, the omnipotent being, that which is greater than ourselves, watch over each and every one of us as Africans, and may we achieve that which we seek to achieve for the benefit of those yet to come. Ashe, 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 Ashe.
Ashe. Oh, rise up, Prophet. Let's go over to Jammers. You've got a couple of minutes, Jammers, to make your final departing words for this strong.
I just got to pick up yourself. Rise up yourself, the panel, you know, Prophet Maduti, you're on fire to this strength, you know, and Kwame and Russell, you know, it's just excellent. I think, as I said, you see all their belief systems have fallen. 2020 was the time when you see everything. Now we have to act, you know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We're not these labels, we're not these words that the Europeans have attached to them ourselves. We're more than that. We've got to stop defining ourselves by their sounds that they've given us, you know. We are having an experience. We are the creator of the experience that we're having. We're the energy that creates the experience that we're having. If we're the energy that creates the experience that we're having, then we must have a relationship with the supreme energy to be able to have the energy to create the experience. If we've got that relationship with the supreme energy, then who are we? That means we are connected with the supreme energy, and we are the expression of the supreme energy. This is what we've got to take into our power and pull it into existence. We are nature, and we are that defined energy that is having a human experience. So it's our responsibility to act in the way we're supposed to act, in defense of humanity and in defense of nature and in defense of our ancestors and in protection and the rise of our people and our younger generation. So let us rise as Africans. Together we will rise and conquer this European disease together. Thank you.
Rise up. This is what we've got to be pumping into the minds of our young people from a very young age. Oh my days. Brother Kwame, let me give you 2 minutes as well to make some concluding remarks.
Yes, thank you very much, Sister Shanice. Thank you, Prophet Medute. Thank you, Brother Jammers. Thank you, Comrade Rasul. I just want to thank our viewers all. I would just like to remind everyone who's watching about what Kwame Nkrumah said during independence. He said that we are going to create our own African personality and identity during the independence celebration in the Gold Coast at that time, which was turned to Ghana. And he said also that seek ye first the political kingdom, and all the other things shall be added unto you. So what he meant is that we should see how we can take control of the political landscape so that we can influence, so that we can institutionalize, things. We can, anything which we want will come in the political kingdom, not the other way around. So that if we want schools, we want to re-educate our people, we just put out on a larger scale because we have the control of power. So this is one of the things which the Rapid Africa Plan is here to do. And I would like people to come and support the Rapid Africa Plan, support any organization which is working for the Africans. Galaxy Afiwi, Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute, Pierre Lumumba Foundation, ADDI, Dr. Chiombo Rikwao. So all these organizations, as long as you are African, you need to subscribe to these organizations so that we can see how we can reconstruct our continent and take it back from these invaders, the Europeans, the Indians, and the Chinese who have come on the continent to claim our inheritance, and they want to covet it and take it to themselves. So it is time for Africa to rise. It is time for us as the African children and the African people to reconstruct our continent. It is the only place which is remaining to be reconstructed, and we have everything we need. We have literacy rate of over 65% on the continent. We have enough on the continent and around the world. We have enough people to reconstruct this continent. We have enough resources, up to $700 trillion in the soils. We have our culture. These are the cornerstones which we have to stand on to reconstruct our African continent. Thank you very much, Sister Shanice.
Thank you so much, Brother Kwame. We will invite you back. I know you've got so much more you wanted to share with us. We will be inviting you back. Brother Rasool, let me give you a couple of minutes as well. I know we're over time now, but my brother, let's hope that we can hear from you clearly without the gremlins interfering.
I hope so. What I'd like to end with is basically saying to people, do not think you irrelevant. Do not think that you cannot change the world. Do not think that you need huge numbers to change the world. Revolutions are led by individuals who think differently, who act on what they the rain or a storm does not happen without raindrops. And everybody that's here watching today can be a part of the storm. Everyone that's here can begin the process. If you throw a stone into a pond, it has ripples, and those ripples impact on other things. The stone may not realize what it is because it's at the bottom of the pond. Continue to go out. If you want to do something, go out somewhere and talk to your group, talk to your church, talk to your soccer club, to your neighbor, talk to your children, talk to everybody that's around you, because that is the stage of revolution, is to conscientize people, is to share thoughts, is to bring about lightning. The other thing is to utilize your time. When you have time, break your time down into 3 components. The one component you sleep, the one component you work, the other component you educate yourself. There's nothing as dangerous as an educated mind. Every African has a duty to educate his mind. If you have a pen, pick up your pen and write. If you can sing, sing. If you can paint, paint. If you can do anything that relates to the arts, please do it, because you are the change that you want. If you act, you will change everyone else. And if you multiply that exponentially, it becomes a revolution. So you be who you are and be a part of the program, because without you, there's no me. Just as without me, there's no you. We are one. That is the consciousness that we should link. That is the consciousness that we should enhance. That is the revolutionary spirit we should protect our children in the schools through song and dance.
Sister Shanice,
Rise up, our brother.
Sister Shanice,
Yes, Prophet.
I
Yes,
know we're
Prophet.
running over time. I know we've run over time, but I just want to add something to what Brother Rashul said. And it's coming from the Ubuntu saying, I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am.
Asheo. Asheo. And on that note, I want to thank my panel members, each and every one of you. Thank you so much. The panel say, can we have back Brother Rasul? The good news is that we have brought Brother Rasul for Next Strong as well. And let's hope that we have a better line so that we can hear more clearly what our brother has to say, because he's a powerful brother as well, and you know, we want to hear clearly what he has to say. Brother Jammers, I know can't make it Next Strong, but hopefully you'll be black after that. Hopefully Brother Prophet will have you black, and I know our family wants us to have Brother Kwame black as well, and we should have David Commission from Barbados on Next Strong as well. Barbados, as you know, have recently removed the Queen as their head of state, making some major moves there. And, you know, it's been a great show. I want to thank the panel members for making it the great show it was, and you, the audience, as well, for your suggestions. I want to thank each and every one of you. And the aspect of the show where we were promoting African grown produces, I like that. And I want to feature more African homegrown produces and entrepreneurs some more. So please get them ready for the next show so that we can flag them up on screen as well. Family, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you black again for another Blacktastic time. Next Strong, same time, next Wednesday. Keep rising, spread the word so that we can get more family and friends tuned into this channel. And all being well, we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. GMT time. Thanks again, panel. More love, more power, more voodoo. Rise up, family. Rise up. More power, more voodoo.